Prosperity isn't luck, it's a craft, woven on the loom of corporations, a quiet art mastered by those who see beyond the surface. Think back to grade school stories. Jack the Woodsman, the rogue with a twinkle in his eye, swiping gold from bloated lords to sprinkle among the weary. Teachers painted him a hero, a bandit with a cause, but peel back the shine, and he's just a thief in a dashing cape, less saint, more showman with a loyal crowd. That old tale lingers. It echoes in diner gripes. Why not make the bigwigs pay? Or, tax the tycoons and share the haul. It's a dusty dream. Strip the rich to pad the rest. Yet the reality stings. The net meant to snare the elite often traps the middle. The clerks, the teachers, the ones with diplomas and decent checks, while the truly wealthy glide past, untouched. Flip through history's ledger for proof. Taxes weren't always a fixed game. Long ago, in places like Scotland or the early colonies, they'd flare up only when swords rattled. Say, a French warlord's clash from 1802 to 1819, or America's bloody split from 1862 to 1866. Leaders called it a pitch-in, a short-term plea, but promises faded. By 1868, Scotland bolted income tax into place. The U.S. sealed it in 1917, with a constitutional wink. Once, folks torched tea over a penny's levy, recall Boston's Harbor Bash, but over time, a steady tithe sank roots. Here's the twist. Those early taxes were sold as a whip for the wealthy. Soak the barons, the pitch went, rallying mill hands and shopkeepers. The crowd roared it into law, sure it'd pin the elite. But the burden slipped, landing square on the cheering masses. Government's like a bear with a honeypot. One taste, and it's ravenous. What started as a noble jab sprawled into a beast, fed by the very folks who'd hoped to tame it. Two mindsets clash here. One side thrives on swelling the system. More desks, more hands, more sway. A fat payroll's a trophy, a sign of clout. The other cuts lean, stacks coins, and earns nods for keeping it tight. One feeds the beast, the other starves it. They're playing different sports. One's a dreamer, chasing fairness. The other's a schemer, chasing edge. Both see truth, but from opposite cliffs. History spins a sly tale. Taxes sprouted from that woodsman mirage. Pluck the rich, lift the rest. But once the gold flowed, the state's appetite grew fangs. Soon, the middle rung, everyday folks, bankrolled the banquet. The wealthy? They'd long cracked a dodge, the corporation. Picture it, a paper chest for gold, born when galleons sailed. If the ship went down, the sailors sank. But the lords lost only their stake. That trick still guards their hoards today. The punish the rich crowd swings hard but misses. The elite don't flinch, they weave. Taxes meant to rope the top. Dogs lassoed the herd instead. When Sokum laws hit, cash poured in. At first it sparkled, jobs for clerks, deals for tycoons. But managing it? Chaos. In the state's game, hoarding's a sin. Spend it or lose it. Efficiency's no prize. In the crafty world, though, a surplus is king. As the tax net widened, it snagged the same voices that had cheered it on. The sharp ones don armor. Corporations. It's not a building or a crew. It's a ghost, a scroll filed in a drawer. It's a shield. Lighter taxes. Bills paid before the revenuer knocks. One side toils for the system, the other bends it. Work wages and the boss reigns. Work wealth, and the reins are yours. That's the ancient tug of war, haves and have-nots, scrapping over the rules. The losers, the unaware, clock punchers bleeding taxes, blind to the dance. Today, regular folks grind half the year just to feed the beast. The harder the hustle, the bigger its bite. The pluck the rich dream flipped. Those who bought it got plucked. The wealthy don't buckle. They rewrite the play. With deep pockets and sharp wits, they summon wizards, lawyers, accountants, to carve loopholes. Ever hear of Section 721? Swap a shack for a mansion, and the taxman waits. Climb that ladder, and he's left empty-handed. Anyone can play, but the rich spot the moves first. They tend their own soil. The rest sit still, drained by the tax needle. Shops crumble over a form's typo, and the state shrugs. One path takes it lying down, the other weaves a tighter net, threading wealth through corporate cloaks. Knowledge is muscle, the saying goes. Money's power, but only if it's flexed right. Push kids towards safe jobs and they're locked in a trap. A steady gig without money smarts is a cage without a key. Freedom brews from 4 spices. Ledger lore. Knowing the numbers, miss a beat, and the house burns. Growth craft. Turning coins into herds, half instinct, half magic. Market whisper. Sensing want and surplus. What moves now? Rule dance. Wrapping it in a legal shell, corporations boost the haul, stir 'em well, and wealth weaves itself. A corporation's edge? Pay bills first, tax, later, trips, tools, meals, all on the dime. It's armor, sue, and you chase smoke. The herd owns and loses, the weaver controls and keeps. That's the Woodsman lie turned inside out. The rich don't bleed. They build. This isn't about spilling secrets. It's about lighting sparks. The threads to shield a stash aren't just for barons. They're there for anyone bold enough to pull them.